How you guys doing? And yes, it's finally here that we've all been waiting for. Obviously, the preset feature came out last Friday, and obviously, I don't work on the weekends. I like to upload, obviously, Monday to Friday. So this is today's video all about the preset interface. And what I'm going to talk about is obviously how to use it, what's the good things about it. However, there is two issues that I've figured out straight away from this that might catch you guys out. So you need to pay attention to those, because if you don't, you're going to screw yourself over. I am telling you now. So smash like, comment, and subscribe. Let's dive into it, right? So the preset interface, how do you get to this area? How do you make all of these presets that you want on your formations, right? So to get to this, it's pretty easy. You can go to this in two ways. You can be normal like me and like everyone else in the community, and you can press your formation flags. Pressing your formation flags will take you to your edit troop formation area, and as you'll notice on any of my formations now, I will have the preset feature. If you don't have the preset feature, I need to make this clear, you're not high enough. And I mean that not in an illegal way. I mean, you need to get to Town Center level 17. It did get released in the dev column that you need to have a certain requirement on your town center to unlock the preset feature. So once you get to that, you will be able to see this. I don't want to see any comments, because if I see those comments, I'm just going to ignore them. I'm going to be honest with you right now. So when we get into here, we can hit the preset feature. And what this does is allow you, as you can see, to seamlessly hit apply, and boom, we have just set up our gathering march just like that. And guess what? I can just go boom and set back up my Ramsey's march. And that is the whole principle of preset. This is what we've been asking for a long time. However, it goes a little bit of a step further, and there's some issues because of that. So what you can do in this is, as you'll notice, you can battle tag your formations. So at the very top, we are looking at all my presets, all of them, right? Every single one of them. And if we go on to the swords, this is showing my PvP ones. So I've got 3 set up at the moment, and I've got 1 here on purpose unmade, just to kind of showcase what you can do from here. But these battle ones are obviously what you're going to apply in open field, that you might use in PvP and so forth. The next one is gathering, right? So all your gathering marches should be in here, and that's what you're going to need to do. So the first thing that I would tell you when it comes to doing this is, when you're setting up your marches, you'll notice that it always gives you the entire roster every time, because it is allowing you to create whatever combinations that you want. This does trip up people. So when you are trying to make these formations, what you might do, for example, just to show it off, you could go and actually put, you know, Queen Dido down here, and then for the other 2, you're going to grab 2 of your you know, purples, but you'll notice, oh wait, I have got my purples up here. So just remember that when you are making your formations, because you don't want heroes overlapping, especially if you're going to be using multiple marchers at the same time, because they are going to be removed from the roster because they are being used, right? So just remember that you can't have the same kind of heroes in multiple setups, because you are going to be using those said setups. So that's why you'll notice everything should be all correct here, right, for my gathering marches. The bottom one is siege. So if you want to set up a siege march, you can set a siege march up. And again, like anything else, you can hit apply and just create that bad boy. What you can also do, as you'll notice, I've obviously got my march here, which is going to be my Ramsey's march for a preset. You can obviously create a march in 2 ways. You can either go onto this little plus button and start, you know, crafting your formation up. So you can pick up or filter just like anyone would do. So let's just go and filter, for argument's sake, my Ramsey's march. And let's just put in Charlemagne instead, because we want Charlemagne in this one, this lineup instead, right? We want to save that. You can do that. Or what you can also do, which is really cool, is import. So what import means is if you already have a formation set up, so you can see at the moment, right, if I go into my battle ones, I've got my Mulan, I've got my Lubu, and I've got my Ramses, because these are kind of like going to be my main 3 marches at the moment, and maybe I might make one more just in case. But for argument's sake, if I wanted to, I can import my ram cam here, which I have built up for just completing some quick, tasks on the field. And if you hit import, boom, it will import that entire troop lineup into there. You can hit save then, and just like that, it's saved. And as you'll notice, each actual preset is going to take up a slot. And this is a total amount. So you'll notice I've only got 4 here. I've got technically 5 here, and then I've got 1 siege, right? So you need to take note of that, because when you go to the top, this is showcasing all 10 presets that you have set up. And this is just going to be one feature, and one suggestion, like I kind of spoiled at the beginning of the video, would be straight away, if we could just ask politely in a new update very soon, could we just get 15? I'm going to be honest, 15 preset troops is enough, and I'll explain why it's enough in a second. Because the cool thing is, with these presets, you can do some really interesting things with them, and you can even delete them just like that too. So it's not like you are set in stone. It's not like it's going to take you forever to do all. You can do whatever you want to do, and that is true with the march, apart from one thing. So what you'll notice, if I go to any of my battles, right, let's take my Mulan march for example. This Mulan march in this preset, it will save everything I set up in this preset right now, in meaning it will save my gear, it will save the gems attached to that gear, it will save the rings, it will save the mount, and obviously the adornment, and technically whatever the talent setup is on the Mulan, it will sort all of that out. Whatever you set up, it will save. The one thing though which it does not save is your skill setup, and this is super important, and I can showcase why really easily. If you go to your gathering marches, right, and we look at my King Derek is obviously set up with a windfall build, right? And if I go into more skills here, I can now put efficient harvest on and replace that, thing, right? We can advance this up just for argument's sake for you guys to make you feel a little bit better on video, right? But we can equip my whole gathering build now onto this, and you'll notice it didn't want me to save anything of that, and that is because it doesn't actually save the skills independently. So if you look now on my siege march actually has those same skills. And the thing is, if I go back onto this King Derek, and if you guessed it right now, I will be able to go back onto Fearless Runner. I'll be able to go over here and put Righteous Judgment on, just to be a little bit more, tankier and try and survive as a siege march, right? So we've got our siege march set up here now. But if we go here, it's going to change. So this is the only issue that you will run into. So when you are making these presets, I know it might be a little bit of a weird one, but depending on the formation that you're running, the skills really do matter that what you're going to run, right? Because you're going to lose potentially some effectiveness on that march. A real good example of this in PvP is if we just replace, I don't even know why I did that. We need to replace you, and then we need to replace you. There we go. Right? The only thing in PvP, and a good example of this, as I was trying to say, is actually like a Lubu march. Because depending on what build you are running, some people, for example, might run Attila in the second slot because they don't have Timur yet, and they might run Rani. And because of that, obviously, you want this warrior's hymn on the Rani, and on Attila, you don't want that, right? You want like Act of Mercy or Weak Spot Attack or Armor Piercer. There's just 3 different options which are just infinitely better than Warrior's Hymn on the Attila going on to the Rani, right? So because of that, if you then save that Rani build and then you save a Timur build later down the road, let's just say you need to make sure your skills are going to be in the correct order. They've got the correct skills online. Same with, obviously, your gear. So one thing you can do with this feature is, obviously, it saves the ring and the gear that you've got equipped. So in Ramsey's scenarios, what you could do, if you really wanted to, is actually equip him with some swordsman gear. So you could equip a full swordsman gear onto this Ramsey's, put on the correct gems that you need and save it, and then what you could do, same with Zuliang, same with Theo, repeat the process now, but with Archer. So then you could technically have 2 sets of gear and setups, one for archers, one for swordsmen for your Ramses. And what would happen is, if you do that, you need to ensure you're not obviously using another set of swordsman gear anywhere else, and it will work. It will swap between the gears and it will swap between the gems. It's just a bit of a nuance to do, because if you imagine I make, a Miyamoto match down here and just kind of pump this out. So Miyamoto, we just run what people are running, right? If we have this build online now, as you can see, it's got my swordsman gear. And if I apply this to my march, so if I go and try to apply this, as you can see, it's having issues because I've already got this applied, obviously, to Troop 1, which is one big issue. But at the same time, that gear would be already equipped to this Ramses, and you can't copy and duplicate gear. It won't allow you to do that. So just make sure you understand the little bit of nuances that you have with this. But what you can do, like I said, is change and save whatever ring setup you want on here. If I want to equip the Ring of the Crow, just for argument's sake, we can put that on, come out, and you can see it's got it all equipped. It's got everything that we needed on that match set up, right? So for most players, what I would recommend is, and this is probably what most people will also recommend, is you might only have 1 or 2 3 at most formations, right? And these are going to be your main PvP formations that you've been working on. So you can see I've been working on my 5-star Ramses, as you guys know, and that's going to be my main march soon. But I've also got my Mulan here, right? So my Mulan is chilling, waiting for Aslan, so that's going to be my other main lineup. And I've got Lubu, and Lubu does Lubu things, so you always have to include him, for me anyway, as my formation. So you can see they're going to be like my main formations. Anything else, I know if I put it out on the open field, it technically isn't as strong as these marches. It's got nowhere near the investments into them, so I really need to put the best on the best in. So what you could do, as most players might introduce, is actually making some rally marches in the siege area, because it is saying siege, but that doesn't mean they have to be siege marches. It's just a separation of attack. So a really good example of this for warrior swordsman is a lot of people would recommend, just for argument's sake, you ran Miyamoto Lagertha, but Mehmed. And a lot of people will tell you Mehmed in rallies is a lot better than running other heroes in rallies. And this is what could be really cool, because you can set up then in the siege area maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 rally specific setups. You can have your 5 main, let me just save that. You would have like 2, 3 here, right? You'd have 5 gathering marches, and then you'd have your 2 or 3, depending on what setup you've gone for, in your battle reports. And that is actually quite good for most players, having 2 main open field marches that might have a couple of tweaks here and there for their rally marches, and then that's where this category is in, and they can swap to their gathering, right? And just to showcase, this is how easy it is. Literally, I can just press now, and it's done. I've got him in that march, and if we want to apply this, we can apply this. It's that fast, guys. So once you've got this set up, you're gonna be absolutely loving it, because you can already be in the correct setups that you want. The only issue that we have at the moment, as you've seen in today's video, is the skills here universally used, so you can't save specific skill setups. That would be a really cool addition to this. And at the moment, we are limited to 10 presets. If we get to 15 presets, that would be really interesting, because that means in the longevity and the long term of this game, players could set up 5 specific gathering marches. They could have 5 open field marches where maybe you run Mulan, Mehmed, Rane, maybe it's Mulan, Mehmed, Bellevue, maybe we're running Aslan, Mehmed. You know, we can run multiple configurations of the same main march, because maybe it's just better in different scenarios that we're fighting in, for example, right? So you can have 5 here, then you can have 5 siege marches or rally specific marches too. And I think that's what people would love to see, having 5 specific marches here, here, and here, and having that ability to preset a bit more than we can currently do. Because I will tell you already, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. Let's be honest, a solid 8 out of 10. Maybe you could go a bit higher, I don't know, but it's a really good preset system that I've not had before in other games, where normally what they do, as many people know, is they'll have your preset 5 here, like we have, but at the very top where my mouse is right now, they would have like this gap, and there'd be like 4 extra buttons, and then you'd press, this would be like red 1 2 3 4 5, and then you'd have blue 1 2 3 4 5, and then you'd have yellow 1 2 3 4 5, right? You just have different colors on each one, and it's the exact same thing, but it's just like, I just feel like this is a much better approach, because you can see everything that you're going in with. You can see if everything is set up right. You can see what rings you've got on. You can see what mounts you're running. You can see everything, right? So really good preset feature. I just thought, obviously, today's video should show it off, and you guys should appreciate it and start abusing it. Start abusing it, because if you're not abusing it, you are honestly sleeping under a rug. Because you can see me now, I am literally going to start doing it now, setting up my gathering marches to gather, because we've done everything. Now we can actually start gathering. We can start gathering. So yeah, that is today's video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and then obviously smash like, comment, and subscribe. Until the next video, stay safe, stay sneaky, peace out.